my shocking prediction for 2024 and beyond is the end of obesity as we know it. That's a bold statement, right? It's a bold statement. It's a little bit of a change of tact on what everyone has spoken about, but every few decades, a medicine comes along that upends the pharmaceutical industry and society at large. We had penicillin in the 40s, we had Prozac in the 80s, in the 90s we had statins, and of course the immuno-oncology drugs of the last decade. And I think there's a very good chance that the anti-obesogenic drugs will go on to become the blockbuster story of the next 10 years and potentially the best-selling drugs of all time. So why is this important? Well, it's important because obesity is the fourth leading cause of death globally. And it's also a risk factor in a range of other diseases, as you can see there. Obesity levels have tripled since 1975, so they're on this inexorably strong trend year after year after year, almost exponential. It's estimated 50% of Americans will be obese by 2030. That translates to about 18% of total medical spend in the US, so we're talking very big numbers. Obesity is actually associated with 200 comorbidities. So if you look at, how do I get back there? Okay, so 200 comorbidities. So the silver lining here is if you can solve the obesity issue, you can solve for so many different burdens on society and improve quality of life. But there's going to be huge winners and losers within this space. Who are the winners? Well, the big winners, we've got Novo Nordisk on the left-hand side. So Novo Nordisk, for those of you who don't know the company, they're actually Europe's biggest company right now. They just took over LVMH as the biggest company in Europe. And this is a company, people think about the big pharma companies, they think of Eli Lilly, they think of Astra, that sort of thing. Third biggest pharma company in the world today is Novo Nordisk. And their key drug, their key revolution, Wegovy, it's a GLP receptor agonist, which means that it suppresses appetite. So unlike previous generations of pharma drugs in this space that sped up your metabolism, people talk about here that they're taking the drug, they actually have to remind themselves that they need to eat. The list price runs at well over $1,000 US per month in the US, and the average weight loss is 15%. Now, they have about a 96% market share in the US. But very soon we're going to see Eli Lilly's Mounjaro, which is expected to get approval for obesity towards the end of this year. The list price for that is $1,000 per month, and the average weight loss is 26%. So really huge numbers. I'm, 100 kilos, so that's me losing 26 kilos. So they're incredibly effective drugs. The safety profiles are extraordinary, and they're potentially $100 billion a year sales by 2035, but I think it will likely be sooner than that. So full disclosure, we own both of these names. We bought Novo Nordisk in 2022 and Eli Lilly in 2021. But the great game changer that's occurred is the SELECT study of 18,000 people that happened, or the results were released just last month. Why was this such a game changer? Why was this so exciting? Well, what they found is that it reduced heart disease, Wegovy, by 20%. Why is that exciting? Because it's going to pave the way to unlocking funding through the US government, through health insurers, through governments globally. So that's an absolute game changer that's going to create winners and losers. Who will the losers be? Well, here's just a few. ResMed, we know well, provides sleep apnea equipment. Since that announcement, stock price has cratered. You've seen various diabetes companies or diabetes device companies that have also seen their prices really deteriorate. Medifast, so companies in the dietary space, the slimming space, they've really got hurt as well. They're going to be some of the losers. But you'll notice at the top we've got WW Weight Watchers. So that's a bit strange. Why Weight Watchers? Why are they up about 80% or so since that announcement? And the reason is very simple, because earlier in the year they paid $120 million for an acquisition of a telemedicine company that does one thing and one thing alone, and that's provide prescriptions for people on anti-obesity medication. So if that doesn't tell you that, Weight Watchers, the company that's been extolling the virtues of self-denial, they're pivoting and saying, well, actually, if you just take this pill, then you don't need to do any of that. It's pretty extraordinary times to be living through. Who are the other losers? Well, this is a longer-term story to play out. Some of my favourites, I hate to say. But a recent paper by Morgan Stanley, very easy back-of-the-envelope calculations. They said, well, in the studies, the foods that people are most cutting back on that are on these medicines are actually the fattiest and the highest in sugar, the unhealthiest foods, the fast foods and the sugary drinks. So with their estimate that by 2035, 24 million, so that's about 10% of the adult US population, will be on these drugs. It's a massive number. And you get an average 20% average calorie reduction. And that's going to translate to a 2 to 3% reduction in expenditure for these companies. So, it's definitely some very exciting times ahead. I think fortunes are going to be made, fortunes are going to be lost, and certainly lives for many, many individuals will be improved greatly. Thank you.